Hello, it's Rebecca here from Precious Pages Papercraft, and today I'm designing a layout for SpiegelMom Scraps. And I'm working with some of the newer mixes from the store today. I recently received my latest design team pack from Jodie, and so I've got all the new mixes. So I'm going to use two on today's layout. I've got Peach and Berry Cobbler and Papaya Punch. And I've picked these two because they work really well with the colours in my photo and also the collection I'm using. So I've got Simple Stories, Simple Vintage Country Harvest collection, and both of these mixes work really well with the colours in that. So I started my layout by cutting a really large leaf shape from my 12 by 12 background paper, and now I am trying to machine stitch around the entire edge of that with orange thread. Easier said than done. I really didn't want to have to sit there for hours hand stitching, so I thought I'd be brave and pull out my sewing machine. It didn't come out as neat as I was hoping, but it's come out better than I expected, if that makes sense at all. Always the way with my sewing machine, but it was a really awkward shape to try and machine stitch around. But I'm happy with how it turned out in the end, but it did take me a while to get that done. So there we go, I have skipped through the rest of that painful process for you. I now have stitching all the way around the outside edge of my leaf, and I'm just bringing the threads to the back of the layout just so I can secure them with a bit of tape and just neaten that up a bit. And the idea is I want to turn this into a giant shaker pocket. So I've got a 12 by 12 sheet of acetate here. That's available at SpiegelMom as well. So as well as sequins, you can get everything you need for shaker pockets. So acetate, double-sided tape, Big Mama foam tape rolls, all of those things. And if you use the link in the description box below, that will get you 15% off your entire order as well. So definitely check that out. So at the moment I'm going around the edge of that leaf shape on the back with some red line tape. This stuff's really strong, so I'm using it to hold my acetate in place. It would have been easier to use wet glue and probably much quicker, but I didn't want the glue oozing out across my acetate. I've had that a few times now where I'm quite heavy-handed with my glue. So I've decided to use the red tape instead. And I'm just going around as close to the edge as I can to get this acetate stuck in place. So there we go, that's stuck down now, and I'm just going to trim off some of the excess. I'm not going to go too mad, but I didn't get it down perfectly in line with my 12 by 12 cardstock, so just trimmed a few edges off. Then I'm just using a little tiny bit of quick dry tacky glue just to stick those three kind of pointy bits down. And now I'm going to work on creating the actual pocket for my sequins to sit in. So this is the Big Mama foam tape roll. This stuff is absolutely perfect for shaker pockets. It's adhesive on both sides. You just peel back the paper on the top layer of it, and it's really easy to kind of bend and mould. My leaves are quite the leaf edges are quite pointy, so it was easier for me on this one to kind of cut it rather than try and mould it around the entire thing. But you can see some of the bits do go a bit curved. So I'm just going around getting this stuck. I'm trying to get it as close to the leaf edge as I can because this is going to house my sequins. So I want them to be contained behind that leaf shape and not behind the white cardstock. So I've tried to keep my pocket as contained as I can. And I want to back it with this piece of pattern paper I've got from the collection. I only have one sheet of it, and this is all I have left. And it is literally just big enough by the skin of my teeth, but it's really important that when I go to stick it down I get it right because it is only just big enough. So I'm using the sort of negative part or positive part, however you look at it, of the cut file, and I've stuck it to the back of that paper so that when it comes to sticking it down I can just line it up with that shape a little bit easier. Well, that's my hope anyway. So now I'm just going to take some time to peel back the sticky parts on the back of that Big Mama foam tape roll, and then I can get my sequins added. So this is the fun part of creating a shaker pocket for me. I love the satisfaction of just pouring the sequins in. I've gone in with the peach and berry cobbler first, and that mix works really well with the colours in my photo. And then I've come in with papaya punch, which works really well with the patterned paper I'm backing that aperture with. The colours are just perfect, the oranges and the greens. So really happy with those two mixes and how well they go with this layout. I'm trying my hardest to line that patterned paper up on that aperture. Doesn't quite work. There's a little tiny bit at the top there that I just have to use an offcut of pattern paper just to fill in the gap. But where it was only just big enough to cover that hole, some of the tape roll, the sticky tape roll, is showing on the back. So I'm just going around with some white cardstock, covering those up so they don't stick to my desk or the page protector once it's in an album. And then I'm just securing those, making sure they're stuck in place just with some sellotape. So the back looks an absolute state, but I love how the front looks. I really love how this shaker pocket turned out. It's got two whole mixes in there, and there's plenty of depth with that tape roll that the sequins can all move about when you tilt the page, and it's just really therapeutic for me. I love just tilting giant shaker pockets. It might make me a bit weird, but I just absolutely love watching them, and the sound it makes is quite mesmerising too. Anyway, back to the layout. I go to the trouble of adding a couple of patterned paper layers behind my photo. So I've mounted it on white cardstock just to help give it a bit of separation. Then I've used one of the papers from the collection, and I'm also going to add a layer of orange cardstock, orange basil. Bit of a waste of time because my plan changes slightly here and you don't end up seeing any of this at all. But I thought I'd keep the process in to show you this was what I was originally planning. But as quite often happens when you sit down to create, your plan changes and it evolves and develops. So yeah, I did all of this and then end up using one of the chipboard frames from the collection instead. So all of that gets covered up. I'm just having a quick flick through the collection to see if there are any elements I can fussy cut to use to embellish the page, and I found one of the cut apart sections on that 3x4 sheet. It's got this lovely little bit, it's like a leaf sprig, and it's got a little ticket and a heart on it, and I thought that was really pretty, so I'm going to cut that out and use that to embellish the page. So my little boy's got my harvest wreath around his neck. It was hanging quite nicely on the backdrop for the photo sheet, but he decided to take it down and be silly with it. So I've got a lot of photos of him with it on his head like a halo and around his neck and poking faces through it. So I wanted to get some more leaves on this layout, so that I thought was really pretty. Going to have that to the left. I do end up covering a lot of it up in a minute, but that's just kind of what happens, isn't it? When you start embellishing things, a lot of things get covered up. But this is where I decide I want to use one of those chipboard frames. So it says Hello Fall, which I thought was perfect, and it's got some lovely little flowers and butterflies and a doily. So I've decided to use that, and this is where all those paper layers get covered up. So I'm loving how this layout is coming together so far. I'm going to go through the bits and pieces packs that come with the collection to pick out some autumn or fall related bits to get on the page. I've pulled out a kind of orange banner there that says Feeling Fall Vibes. I'm going to use that as a butterfly, lovely turquoise butterfly. There's a load of turquoise in this collection, it's gorgeous. So I'm going to pull in a little bit here and there of the turquoise. I'm also adding some foam behind my photo just to bring a bit more dimension to the page. Because my shaker pocket is built on the back of the layout, it was looking very flat on the front. So by raising that photo up on foam, I've managed to build some dimension. What else have I got? So I've got the tab and the butterfly at the top. These are the foam stickers that come with the collection. I love these, I think they're gorgeous. So I've pulled out the fabulous one and I'm just going to use that as my title. Toyed with putting it at the bottom underneath my photo, but I actually really loved it up the top there across that leaf, and it kind of extends the layout up a little bit then and the embellishing. So I've added up to the top, and then I've added a foam sticker butterfly over to the right of that as well. This is the other die cut packs. You get two, you get the bits and pieces, and then you get, I think it's called Harvest bits and pieces. So I'm pulling out bits from both. So I've got a little crate of pumpkins there, and then some individual pumpkins, and this is where I'm going to try and bring in a bit more of that kind of tealy turquoise. So I've got the butterfly up the top. I've got that die cut butterfly that keeps moving around the page. I will find it a home eventually. And then I've got some individual pumpkins down the bottom there. And I'm layering some of these up on foam just for a bit more dimension. And I love the layering effect of having some flat and some raised up. I've also added a little sprig of flowers there over onto the right. I wanted to get some flowers and leaves on the page because there are leaves in my photo. I've finally found a home for that little butterfly. He's going to go over on the left there underneath my title. And I'm not far off being done now, I don't think. Just a couple of finishing touches to go. So I wanted to have something under my photo. It was just looking a bit bare and white down the bottom there. So I've pulled out a couple of the kind of like ticket stickers from the combo stickers sheet rather. I've gone for the orange and that tealy turquoise colour, and I've just layered those underneath my photo. So I'm almost done here. I've decided the outside edge just needs something to finish it off. So I'm going to mount the entire page with a pattern paper to add a coloured border. So I've picked out this lovely kind of gingham paper or checkered paper. Again, it's that tealy turquoise colour. So I've gutted the middle so that I can use that on another page. I hate to waste paper when it's sort of sitting behind something not being seen. So I've gutted that to save it. And then I'm trimming my layout down by 1/4 of an inch on all 4 sides so that I can keep my design central. If I was doing this right at the start, I'd have just trimmed 1/2 an inch off 2 sides. But because I've completed the layout and then decided to do it, I've gone for 1/4 of an inch on all sides. And then I'm distressing that edge with my edge distresser just to bring in a bit more texture. And I'm going to get that stuck down with some double-sided tape. Again, you can get your double-sided tape from SpiegelMom Scraps. Don't forget, I'll pop a link in the description box for you that will save you 15%. I think there's various widths as well you can get, and also that red line tape. So all things needed for shaker pockets and all like adhesive needs and things you can get from SpiegelMom as well. So I've got that in place now. I am going to stitch around that outside edge as well with the same orange thread. It just felt like it needed something else still. Never happy, am I? So I'm just running this through my sewing machine and just doing a straight running stitch all the way around the outside edge. And now I really am almost done. I'm just going to finish the layout off with a couple of splatters. So I'm going to pull out my, I think it's peacock feathers distress ink, and I'm just watering it down, and then with a paintbrush I'm going to add some splatters all around the outside edge of the leaf shape there. And that will be me finished. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope it's given you some inspiration. I love that I've managed to get 2 whole packets of sequins in my shaker pocket. That's a first for me. Like I said, there will be a link in the description box below to the SpiegelMom store with your discount. I'll also pop a link to the Spread the Sparkle Facebook group. If you're not already a member, do head on over and join. But thanks again for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed the layout. I'll leave you with some close-ups, and I will see you next time.